Hey everyone, welcome back to the Privacy Guy. Today I want to talk about Snapchat. Snapchat is a social media app used for sharing photos, videos, and text messages. And I just want to talk about the privacy and security of the app because it's come up quite a bit, and I just wanted to kind of cover these topics, even though apps like TikTok, Instagram, and others have kind of replaced Snapchat in some ways. So the topics I'm going to cover are like the disappearing aspect of Snapchat photos, the encryption that Snapchat does or doesn't use, and then the other privacy aspects like location sharing and just kind of privacy in general. So first of all, if you've used Snapchat, you're familiar with the app and how your photos disappear after the person you send it to opens them. You can set a timer for how long the photo can be viewed, or you can simply allow someone to look at the photo until they close it. I think early on in Snapchat's kind of run as a social media company, people were kind of confused about what that meant, that photos disappeared. People thought that just because the photo could no longer be viewed in the app, that Snapchat didn't have access to the photo either, and that turned out to just not be the case. And a number of different people had leaks and issues with their photos being saved on Snapchat servers in ways that they didn't know that they were being stored. I know that there have been legal cases that have included Snapchat messages or deleted photos that were later recovered from someone's phone, and law enforcement was able to do that because those photos were still stored on Snapchat servers. Snapchat's founder, Evan Spiegel, was in an interview with BuzzFeed and said the people who most enjoy using Snapchat are those who embrace the spirit and intent of the service. There will always be ways to reverse engineer technology products, but that spoils the fun. And I guess just kind of the nature of that quote is like, hey, people want to use Snapchat and have fun with the platform, and we can't really control if they use the app that doesn't embrace the nature of our photo sharing. So if someone has a technology that allows them to record or screenshot Snapchat messages, people's content may not be as private and secure as they feel, or that the messaging that Snapchat uses doesn't align with reality. Amnesty International actually gave Snapchat a score on transparency, or like action and messaging privacy, and the score that Snapchat received was 26 out of 100 because the app didn't provide any transparency or like real dedication to privacy. Although Snapchat has updated its privacy policies a few times and has added privacy-friendly features such as encryption, but at least in 2016 the app was struggling heavily as far as privacy and security goes. And then Snapchat and encryption. Encryption is obviously the gold standard for protecting communications online, and if you're using a privacy-friendly service, that service definitely uses encryption to keep your messages secure. Snapchat introduced end-to-end encryption to its service in 2018, but Digital Information World reported that Snapchat's encryption only applies to snaps. It doesn't apply to text messages or group messages that users send on Snapchat. So this can kind of be confusing for users, and I think it's important to address these things. Snapchat is encrypted if you're sending a photo to someone, but if you send a text message on Snapchat, that message is not necessarily encrypted and could be intercepted by someone monitoring your network traffic, or could be viewed later by law enforcement or other third parties. And then finally, Snapchat using users' location. Snapchat encourages users to turn on the location sharing so that they can add certain geo filters to your images. And then a newer feature that Snapchat added was the Snap Map. So you can actually see where your friends are on a map. You can see a map of the United States or of the world and see where your friends are located. And I personally think this is a privacy issue. If my friends are constantly able to track me, I'm okay with that. But the feature can be kind of misunderstood, misrepresented, and users can share their location without their knowledge. And this just leads to potential safety threats, potential privacy issues with tracking my location, and I would just prefer not to use that, and I personally keep the feature turned off. So there's a few more features I want to talk about in Snapchat that I think are important as far as privacy goes. The first one is what I just mentioned, is don't share your location on the Snap Map. So if you need your friends to know where you are, there's other ways to do this. You can use iOS's Find My Friends, or there's other apps just for this purpose that are more privacy and security focused. And then secondly is don't allow people to find you with your mobile number. Just because someone has your cell phone number doesn't mean they need to have access to your Snapchat. You can turn this feature off in the settings, and I recommend you do that just so that people aren't able to link your phone number and your Snapchat together and just kind of further develop a data profile about you. I just personally would prefer to turn that off. Another thing you can do is enable two-factor authentication, which is good for keeping unwanted users out of your account. So what this looks like is you would type in your username and password to log into Snapchat, and you would get a code sent to your cell phone or your email to verify your identity. This just helps prevent any unwanted access in the case that your password gets breached somewhere, or someone gains access to your phone, or whatever it may be. It's just another layer of protection, and I think it's good for something like Snapchat that could potentially have sensitive messages or content. And then my final tip for Snapchat, and this applies to most apps, is just keep your app updated. Updates include security patches, they include new privacy features. The latest version is typically going to be the most secure just because people haven't figured out how to hack it yet, and if they have, hopefully Snapchat and other apps will issue an update that fixes that security vulnerability. So those are just a few things I want to discuss about Snapchat and privacy. If you are super concerned about your privacy, probably just delete Snapchat and other social media apps altogether. But if you're using Snapchat, those are just a few things to think about to keep yourself safe and a few steps to take to protect your privacy. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.